Okay, I want to talk to you about a constant source of annoyance throughout my entire life, and that's the fact that I'm colorblind. Annoyance, I mean like a tiny gnat that gets in your house, is all up in your face, and you're just trying to swat it away and it just won't disappear. And then you move into a different room and the fly's gone. You just forget about it and you go about your day. And it's that kind of annoyance, or at least it was, till I started a career in filmmaking. And over the past week, it's just gotten way more prominent, and I've realized it adapted to this genetic fault, but I'd never actually given any thought to what causes me to see the world differently to you and to everybody else. So in this video, I'm going to explain color blindness, how it may affect somebody day to day, and how I deal with it as a filmmaker where color is rather important, as well as attempting to show you what I and other colorblind people see the world like. So this is going to be interesting. So let's explore that. So last week, I brought a new camera. This camera here. This one here is good. This one is great. And I promise that this is important to today's story. And without diving too much into the weeds of cinematography, this camera allows me to shoot in 422 10-bit, which basically means this camera has way more pixels and I can manipulate color better than I can on this camera. So I want to utilize that and all the amazing features in this camera. But in order to get the most dynamic range out of this, I have to shoot in something called S-Log3, which straight out the camera with no color correction looks like this, flat and gray. At least that's how I perceive it. It's something I've never fully grasped. I've tried it a bit. I'm not that great at it. Same with white balance, picture profiles, and color grading in general. I understand them, but I question everything I do because I'm colorblind. Usually when I've been making these videos weekly, I choose to shoot straight out the camera like this with minimal color correction done in post. Okay, are you still with me? We are out of the weeds of cinematography, I promise. I have a new camera. To utilize it fully, it requires a lot of additional knowledge and an accurate eye to get the picture right, as opposed to just turning it on and shooting. And that's the problem. I don't have an accurate eye because I'm colorblind as right here. So I've spent the past week deep diving on YouTube, overthinking my workflows, bugging my creator friends for advice and asking them to critique my edits out of this new camera. So this gnat, that small source of inconvenience, has been front and center, like an army of gnats or a plague. All of my own making, I must add, an urge to make these videos better in every way possible. But anyway, I realized I actually don't know jack about color blindness. Besides the fact that I find it hard to distinguish between red and green and browns. I mean, 27 years on this planet, I'm curious about a lot of things. And this I've just adapted to and skirted around it, even though it affects me in some shape or form every single day. So after a lot of research this week and looking through medical websites and trying to pronounce really obscure words, I think I'm getting somewhere. So let's get into this. Oh, and I'm also going to now switch over to this camera and attempt to shoot in that picture profile I talked about. So let's start with the basics, because the word colorblind is actually quite misleading. 99% of all people that are colorblind are actually color deficient, meaning that they are unable to see certain colors on the spectrum, or some colors look much duller. And it occurs because some of the color sensitive cells in the eyes called cones are either missing or they just don't work properly. In the vast majority of cases, color vision deficiency is passed on genetically. And there are different types of color blindness. Red-green color blindness with these variants, blue-yellow color blindness with these, and then complete color blindness. If you have complete color blindness, then you can't see color at all. This is also called monochromacy, which is very uncommon. So to answer the question that I surprisingly get a lot, yes, I can see color, but there is a type of color blindness where you can't see color. And until this week, I didn't know what type of color blindness I had. I just knew that I was colorblind. So I decided to take a test. I don't know how legit this is. The results were, yeah, they made sense. Let's do this test. 5, 2, what's that, an 8? Is that a 1? What is that? No, I can't see anything. A 7? Can you see this? There is no number here. Come on, that was tricky. You have strong deutene color blindness, a type of red-green color blindness, that's what I thought, in which green cones in the eye detect too much red light and not enough green light. And I also got my friend Doug to take the test too, and watching him do it was even more strange. Let's do this. Can you see that?
Yeah.
No. No, there's nothing there. There is nothing there.
There is 100% something
Really?
there,
And
mate.
that's so easy for you to see.
Oh yeah, can you see that one?
No. What is that?
It's a 9.
No, it's not. You got through that so quick as well. Normal vision.
Just normal, mate.
Oh.
Was it just like all grey?
It's like 2 different colors, but there's no number there for sure. I have strong deutan. But apparently deutan color deficiency is by far the most common form of color blindness, mostly in its mild form due to anomaly. And it's actually a common problem that affects around 1 in 12 men and just 1 in 200 women. And that's because the color blindness gene is passed down through the X chromosome. Males have 1 X chromosome and 1 Y chromosome, and females have 2 X chromosomes. Since it's passed down in the X chromosome, it's more common in men. Now, using my high school science GCSE, I can tell you it's usually passed on from a mother to her son. She'll normally just be the carrier of the genetic fault. And fathers with a color deficiency won't pass it on to their child unless their partner is a carrier of the genetic fault itself. And from that, and something I've always known, is that it skips generations. For example, my granddad has it, and it was likely passed down to my mum, who doesn't, but she was a carrier, and then gave it to me. Okay, this is a real life example of where it is a slight annoyance in my day-to-day life. That's my charging wall where I charge all of my gear, and there's loads of little LED lights, and sometimes I have to really look at it or squint to see if it's red or green. Is it fully charged or not? It's like a minor inconvenience, but I'm always either double checking and second guessing myself. And that's a recurring theme with being colorblind. And other daily problems for some people could be, if you ask me to check if like meat is cooked properly, I probably wouldn't be the best person to ask. This doesn't affect me, but for others, traffic lights, gardening, sports. There are some jobs where you need accurate vision. Like I was told at a young age, I couldn't be a pilot, couldn't be a train driver. I always wanted to be a train driver as a kid. That was taken away from me. But are there any solutions to being colorblind? There isn't a cure to being colorblind. There are special glasses that can help you. It doesn't affect me enough for me to personally want to go out and buy some glasses, but most people have just adapted to it and incorporated ways around it into their everyday life. Because for most people, it's not a serious problem. In fact, a lot of people may have it and not even know about it. So let's look at those simulations again, and you can notice the difference between the 4 types. And I really try not to let it hold me back. It's always gonna be there. And like I've said throughout this entire video, I've just found ways of dealing with it. So I wanna share some colorblind hacks that I use to identify color in my work. So using hex codes is a game changer, which is a format for identifying colors, and I can use a color picker to determine that hex code. When I first started using Photoshop 10 years ago, it changed everything. So for my personal brand, I have the hex codes and the colors saved inside all my editing software so I can grab the right shade of colors every single time. I also have it saved on my phone for Instagram stories, and this helps everybody, even if they're not colorblind. But for someone who is colorblind, who doesn't trust the colors I see out of my eyes, the hex codes give me so much peace of mind. If I know the hex code is right, then the color is correct. When I'm color grading videos, I use these lumetric scopes to make sure the image looks correct. However, it can get very overwhelming. For someone who's dyslexic and colorblind, it's a lot. But using those scopes helps a lot over sort of just looking at the image. Like I can trust the graphs and I kind of understand how they work. So if it fits into those parameters, I know that my image is looking somewhat okay. And then another option is asking for other people's opinions or bringing other people on to help out. On my bigger projects like Origins, I bring on Angelo to color grade the footage. For my color palette that I showed you before, I run it past my brother, who is an illustrator, and other friends that I have that work in graphic design, and they can help me identify the right colors. There's also a few sites that I would recommend. Adobe have a color wheel that I'll link below, which allows you to put in your hex code of your color, and then it will also tell you other colors that complement that color. WebAIM, which is also linked below, allows you to check if your color palette is accessible for colorblind people. I really like some of these tools because it takes away relying on exactly what your eyes are seeing or language, because we use language as a framework to distinguish colors. I can tell you that this is red and this is green and this is blue, and you will see that, but what you are seeing compared to what I'm seeing is relative. It's our own perspective. We could all be seeing a different hue of that color. And the question that always comes up when somebody finds out you're colorblind is, oh, well, what color is that? I could take a good guess at what that color is. I could probably narrow it down. I wouldn't always be certain. So I hope this has been an interesting look into how people with color deficiency perceive the world. And if you haven't too, I hope some of those recommendations were also helpful. And if you're new around here, my name is Andy. I make word explainers on this channel every Sunday. The goal for the end of the year is to try and get this channel to 10K subscribers. So if you'd like to help make that goal a reality, I'd love it if you hit that subscribe button, and we'll be back next Sunday with a brand new video. So until then, I hope you have a great rest of your day, stay safe, and I will see you guys in the next one.